all my people, all my YouTube people, watchers, subscribers. Jessica Bug here, the Jessica Bug. I'm going to quote my boy Bentley Coop, one of my favorite people. It doesn't matter when you're already ready. So, I've had some of my followers on my writing specifically ask for writing prompts because I write on a large variety of subjects. I will write about anything from my favorite, tacos 1 to 10 at the San Jose one night taco stand to, I'll talk about hyperinflation. Right now I'm working on a cool piece about simulation theory, which I've kind of borderline become obsessed with. I actually have a meeting today to speak with one of the researchers at UNF who's working on that. I'm very excited. But I write about a lot of things. I don't limit myself. Some people are just romance or they're just fiction or they just write about werewolf porn. I'm not a writer like that. Now, the writing that seems to resonate most with my reader is what I want to call realistic fiction, where, it could plausibly happen, but it may not, or it is based on a true story. That's kind of like my niche where I've seen the most success. My number 2 most successful spots is actually in explaining complex financial terms in a way that you can understand. But that's just for me. There are other people who, they write sci-fi and they do like a great job. I am maybe not the strongest sci-fi writer, but I'll still do average. I'll do average on that. So basically people have asked me to do writing prompts. Right now I have over, I think it's 754 content projects that are in some form of development at this time. And it grows every day because I try to be out and about, and I'm inspired by anything. Like, I could be inspired by a situation that happens at the store, or something that I read, or something that I watch, or a conversation with a good friend that turns into another conversation. So I'm going to start doing some writing prompts for those of you out there who want to pursue writing as a hobby, as a career, as a way to kind of express yourself. I think self-expression is very important in this time where we have more limited social contact. I think it's going to be good to process some things, and I think writing is one of the most cathartic forms of expression. There's no one there to interrupt you or question you. It's you said what you said. Okay, I love saying that. I said what I said. I don't do a lot of editing. I get it out, I publish, boom, done. We're moving on. Like, I'm not going through 6 years of editing here. I said what I said the way I said it. I'm not trying to be an ambassador here. I'm trying to communicate real topics, real feelings, real situations. The other thing is, and I'll go into another video about this, I very much am a proponent. There's 2 forms of writing methods. There's one that is formulaic. You're going to see like a J.K. Rowling use this, where every piece, Nora Roberts, Nicholas Sparks, a lot of your pop authors will do this, where it's boom, boom, boom. They're plugging in. There's specific types of characters, specific settings. It's almost like having a recipe for a book. I think that's cool. I'm going to throw out some writing prompts on that. The number 2 is going to be the Stephen King method, who is, equally literary profound, or like the guy who wrote Game of Thrones. I never remember his name. I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan. They are kind of finding out what happens when you do. And that's my preferred method of writing. Like, I've had people ask, well, what happens to this character, Jessica? Like, tell us what happens. I don't know. Because I'm finding out as soon as you find out. And I'm not exaggerating. Like, I do not reverse engineer most of my writing. I will, specifically if it's for, like, copyright. But if it's writing to entertain rather than educate, I prefer to find out when you find out. And you may find differently. You may find that, you like having the structure of, the more formulaic, what I'm going to refer to as the Rowling approach. And I think for a beginning writer who's developing the craft, I think that is the way to go, because it kind of gives you a template, gives you some reassurance in case you kind of get stuck. So I'm definitely going to have some of that. But for today, we have a writing prompt. And feel free to email me, what you got. I'd love to read it. I'd love to read it on YouTube. You're gonna email thejessicabug@gmail.com. If you give me permission, I will read aloud what you have here on YouTube, give you a shout out, direct people on how to get in touch with you, how to, sample some of your writing. Because I really think writers and artists need to be promoting one another, need to be encouraging one another. So that's one thing we're going to do. This is going to be this can be every day almost, at least 3 times a week, which is not every day. That's like half of every day, but whatever. Okay, so your first writing prompt, very first one, is I want you to write about how a specific color makes you feel. Examples: brown, I don't like brown. Like, not on people, but the color, okay? So brown reminds me of, and this is how I would write it. I write the way I speak. Brown reminds me of dingy. It reminds me of dirty. It reminds me of times in my life where I've been poor. And that's exactly how I would start out. And then I would go into some anecdotes about specific times where I had experience with brown, that I'm not really a fan of brown. Now, alternatively, blue has very great connotations to me. So the way I would start out, if I was writing about the color blue, I would be like, growing up in my grandmother's well-decorated home, the color that permeated and soothed and calmed and reminds me of home is the color blue. She decorated almost exclusively with blue, and that reminds me of home and familiarity and safety. Blue continued to have impact on me because it was the color of my schools. So again, the place where I could feel at home and feel at peace was represented by the color blue. And I would go on and I'd make a little conclusion, and boom, you got your first short piece. Right there. Right there. I highly recommend, if you are somebody that struggles with the writing outline thing, if you're more of an auditory learner, which I definitely am, make a little video of yourself where you're telling the story. Boom. Okay? And then all you do is you go back and you plug in the words. You type the words. Everybody out there can text. All of y'all can text. I know you can. You couldn't have gotten on YouTube if you couldn't. Okay? So that's our first writing prompt. I want you to write about a color, how it makes you feel, and attach some memories to the color. If you don't have memories, or you don't have a specific, emotional reaction to color, that's fine. Make it up. Welcome to writing fiction. And if you want to be really ambitious, write one from your perspective about color and how it makes you feel. And then I want you to write from another perspective of a character that you have made up. And it may even just be somebody you know and you change their name. I have plenty of characters like that are based on somebody I know or knew. And I may change their name. Actually, I always change their name, but whatever. Unless they tell me not to. I do have some that are like, no, put me in there, boo. And I do. All right, so that's your first writing prompt today on Friday, December, whatever it is. I think it's the 10th. I've lost track at this point. Doesn't matter. It's still 2020. We're still here. So go ahead and check out the link below that I'm going to figure out how to upload. There's going to be a lot of information in the description box as soon as I am smart enough to do that. So everybody have a great day. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Send me some of the writing, okay? And we'll talk about it on air. We can even go through and be like, here's this. Here's what we loved. Here's, what we struggled with, okay? I really want to kind of have an open dialogue for people who are trying to write. So, all right, guys, I will see you all later. I got a couple more videos coming out later today through tomorrow. So, you all have a good one and write well.